but let me tell you guys a fact. The thing about cycles is that they don't end. Cycles never end. Circles don't end. They just keep going. It just keeps going. It just keeps going until you make it stop. Yes, my people, welcome to another episode of the Transformation Podcast. On this podcast, we talk about all things transformation. You know what we do on this podcast? We really get busy. We talk about the problems that we as young people are facing on a daily basis. And you know what, guys? Let me just cut to the chase. I was thinking, I had to think again. I was thinking, what should this episode be on? Like, what should we really talk about today? Like, what am I being led to talk about? And one thing I was really repeating in my mind was actually checking yourself. And I don't mean checking other people, because we're so quick to check other people. We're so quick to look at other people. We're so quick to be like, oh yeah, this person's not for me. That person's not for me. But are you that person for them? Are you that friend that you want your friend to be? Are you that sibling that you want your siblings to be? Are you that person that you want the people around you to be? So then it goes back to the original point at hand. It's checking yourself. And why is this so important? Why? Why are we talking about this? Because the longest relationship that you have with other than God is yourself. You're going to be with yourself all the time. So you better make sure that you understand yourself. And it's a process. This is not just a 1 day thing. It's not even a 1 month thing. It's not even a 1 year thing. It's a lifetime thing. Life is a process of becoming yourself. But what we need to do is take those daily steps and take those daily actions. And actually, you know what? I need to keep myself in check. Ooh, what is driving me? What is driving this? Ooh, is it an insecurity driving this? Is it a fear driving this? Is it a flaw driving this? Because listen, I put my hand up. I ain't separate from this. February, even halfway January, I was in a madness. I was literally down. That's why I wasn't even posting episodes like that, because I was completely down. Like, I was down. I was low. And so many problems were happening left, right, and center with relationships that I had with people within university. So many problems were happening. But really and truly, at the source of those problems was myself. And a lot of the times, the problems that we face, it's not even Satan that's causing these problems. It ain't even the enemy that's causing these problems. Yes, he has a hand in these problems because you open a door for him to make the problem even worse. But at root, he didn't even cause the problem. It was myself. There was an insecurity in me that I wasn't checking. There was an insecurity in me that I had to check. What was that insecurity? Just being raw with you guys. Running away from responsibility. When pressure came, instead of actually facing that pressure, I was like, you know what? Listen, I'm just gonna take a step back from this. Like, I need to put myself first. I need to put my mind first. I need to put all of this first. And I'm all for that. I'm all for, yeah, you need to put yourself first. Actually, I'm not even all for you need to put yourself first, because at the end of the day, you're gonna have to put other people first. But I'm all for you need to love yourself first. I'm all for you need to understand yourself first. But you need to actually look at the root of that problem and actually look at the root of why you're saying that. And you actually need to see, why am I saying this? Because I was saying all of this and I was pushing things to the side while things were piling up one after another, one after another, one after another, because I just didn't want to face that responsibility. I created the defense mechanism. And I was like, you know what? This is my defense mechanism, man. I need to put myself first. I can't stress. But in that situation, I stressed even more. Because what happens when you refuse responsibility? It's just going to keep piling. It just keeps growing. It just keeps growing. And that's what we as young people need to do. We need to take responsibility. And it's not even just us young people, but it's us in general. We need to take responsibility. And yeah, I understand. Maybe in your life you may not have seen responsibility taken. In the last episode, I was talking about my dad, how he wasn't really taking responsibility of his children. But just because people in your life haven't taken responsibility doesn't mean that you should continue that same cycle. Because what happens is you go into a cycle. You go into a cycle where you don't check yourself and you're down and you're out and you're low. You go into a cycle. And every time you're in that cycle, you're always waiting for it to finish. You're always waiting for it to end. But let me tell you guys a fact. The thing about cycles is that they don't end. Cycles never end. Circles don't end. They just keep going. It just keeps going. It just keeps going until you make it stop. Until you decide, you know what, enough is enough. This is over. Enough is enough. This is stopping. So what did I have to do? I had to go back to God and literally be like, you know what, God, this is the situation. This is what I've been facing. And I command this to stop. I don't want this to carry on. I don't want this to continue. So I had to take back authority. Of course, I had to pray. Had to get the scriptures out because I was like, no, I don't want this to continue. And you have the authority to stop it from continuing. Because a lot of the times you don't understand just how powerful you really are. You have the authority to dictate what is in your mind. You have the authority to dictate what's allowed to stay in your mind. You have the authority to dictate the thoughts that are in your mind. And there's something that I want to highlight to you guys. It's actually even in James. And it highlights that first you get the thought, you get the desire, and then that desire leads to sin, and that sin leads to death. Let's break this down. The thing about a desire is that it's in your brain, it's in your ideologies, in your concepts. First, you get the concept. So the idea comes. Oh, I'm down, I'm out. You start to get ideas. Start to get ideas. What life would be like if you wasn't around? You start to get ideas. What life would be like if you didn't exist? You start to get ideas about, oh, how can I end this quick? I just don't want to be alive. You start to get the ideas. But you see, when you start to entertain those ideas, it starts to grow. It doesn't go, it starts to grow. And then it merges into your ideologies. It merges into your belief system. And next thing you know, bit by bit, your belief system starts to change. And that's when it starts to manifest. And why does it lead to death? Because once it's manifested in your mind, it's going to manifest physically. That's why you need to attack the thought at this root. When you get these thoughts, when you get these thoughts of being down, when you get these thoughts of being depressed, when you get these suicidal thoughts, you need to attack it at the root. And you need to be like, no, I don't give you authority in my mind. I don't give you authority to stay here. Get out now. And that's when you use the name of Jesus because it has authority to kick things out that's not meant to be there. And this is what it's like to check yourself because literally in the process of checking yourself, you need to unplug things that were in your mind. You need to get it out of your mind. And what do? You fill your mind up with the truth. You fill your mind up with what you're really about. But before you can do that, you need to actually be real with yourself and you need to be honest with yourself and you need to accept the fact that yes, there is a problem. Because at first I wasn't accepting there's a problem. I didn't want to accept there's a problem. But there was a problem. There was a problem. And I'm just being real with you guys because this is what we all face. This is what we all face. More time on a daily basis. Some people want to get out of the cycle. Some people haven't even gotten out of the cycle. But it starts with you first checking yourself. You first being honest with yourself, being honest with your emotions, being honest with where you're at, being honest with how you feel, and then being honest with how you want to feel. And taking that authority from moving from that place of how you feel into how you want to feel. From how you feel in defeat into how you want to feel in victory, you need to take that authority and you need to stand up and be like, you know what? I don't want to feel like this anymore. I want to be like this. I don't want to be that bad friend anymore. I want to be a good friend. I don't want to be down and out anymore. I want to be up. But it starts with you. It starts with you checking yourself and you being real with yourself. You being real with your insecurities and being vulnerable with the right people. With the right people. How do you know? How do you know if they're right though? I've been broken so many times. I've told people certain things and it's like they just betray my trust. I've told people certain things and they go and tell other people. How do I know it's right? You will know them by their actions. You know them by their characteristics. You know them by how they behave. If they're honorable, if they're trustworthy, if they can keep secrets, if they can give sound wisdom, sound advice, you know that, this is a person I can actually open up to. And the same criteria is for mentors, for your friend, for your family members, anyone in your life. You need to see their actions. You know them by their characteristics. You know them by their fruits. And then you can open up to them. Because at the end of the day, yes, you check yourself. But you're not even here to do this alone. There are people that have been placed to your life to help you. You just need to be open up and be real with them. Yes, you're trying to be Mr. Macho, you're trying to be the strongest, but you need to be real with yourself and check yourself. Because you know where that strong mentality is going to take you? It's going to take you down. Be careful that you stand or you might just fall again. But don't worry though. You fall down 7 times. But the righteous man gets back up at 8th time. So don't worry though. Even if you fall, there's a chance to get back up. But you don't need to keep falling again. Don't. You don't. So guys, just be real with yourself. Just be real with where you're at. Especially the mandem. Because the girls do it well. I can't lie. The girls do it well. Mandem, listen. Be real with yourself. Check yourself. Be real with your emotions. If you don't, it's just going to increase. It's just going to increase. You start feeling that stress. You start feeling that tension. Boom. You start to crash. And you don't understand, why am I crashing? I've never crashed before. Last year I wasn't like this. A year ago I wasn't like this. I never crashed before. Do you know why? Because the higher you go, the bigger the problems get. The higher you go, the more sophisticated the problems become. So the more unplucking you have to do. Yes, a year ago, it wasn't like this. I'll be real. A year ago, I wasn't feeling like this. But now, because things have changed, because I've grown, because I've gained more wisdom, because we're going into bigger places, we're going into bigger spaces, these things that I had before, that it was okay in the last season, has to be unplucked for the season that's coming ahead. Otherwise, it's going to be my demise in the season ahead. So I just want to reassure you guys, yes, when you check yourself, you may not see what you like, but don't worry though. Because God saw the finished product and he knows this is not what he saw. And I want to remind you guys, yes, you may be down and out, but this is not what you saw. There's a future that's brighter. This is just temporary. It's temporary. It's going to pass. Don't worry. Yes, you're down, but it's temporary. Yes, you're depressed, but it's temporary depression. It's going to pass. It's going to pass. Yes, you may be having suicidal thoughts. It's temporary suicidalness. It's going to pass. Yes, you may be down. It's temporary. It's going to pass. What you need to do is take those steps and just be real with yourself. And when you can be real with yourself, you can be real with God. When you can be real with yourself, then you can be real with other people. And then you will start to see your life change. But guys, check yourself, man. Check yourself. Look at yourself. Are you prideful? Look at yourself. Are you jealous? Look at yourself. Are you envious? Look at yourself. Are you attention seeking? Look at yourself. Just the way you analyze other people, analyze yourself. And you start to see things in yourself that needs changing. And I'm not saying it's going to change in a day. I didn't even say it was going to change in a year. I hope it changes quicker. Sometimes it takes a while to change, but when you start to make those active steps, it will change. And things do change. Things will change. That's all it really is, guys, man. Check yourself. And that's a wrap, guys. That's it. we've come to the end of the podcast. I just thank you guys for listening. I thank you guys for following me even through to the end of this podcast. I thank you guys for listening, whether it's the morning, good evening, good afternoon, hello, hi, good, wherever you're listening from. I hope you guys are good. I hope you guys are well. Thank you for joining me on this journey. It's always an honor to do life with you guys. It's always an honor to live life with you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. But we'll now come to the end of the podcast. And what I want you guys to take away from this is to check yourself, man. Be real with yourself. Be real with God. And be real with other people. Where does it start from? Be real with yourself. That you can be real with God. That you can be real with other people. Check yourself, man.